What's up, everybody? Tonight, we're going to talk about a couple different things Shakur Stevenson, Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, and much more when we come right back. Welcome to another episode of Ring Walk Boxing Podcast. I am Bean, and hopefully tonight you are having a good night. And if you're having a good night, it's all right. So, what I want to talk about here, y'all, there's a lot going on this week in boxing, and there's a whole lot that's been going on all week, with just different things. Like the most recent trending thing in boxing, you got Usyk and Dubois trying to get it over the line. It's pretty much final that Usyk and Dubois will fight for undisputed, which means this will give Usyk the opportunity to be the first person to be undisputed once, but also fight again for undisputed for a second time. That'll be record breaking history should he be able to defeat Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois has been hot lately all over social media, different platforms, different interviews, and he vows a knockout of Usyk. He said he's going to get his redemption, and this time we're going to see a different version of Daniel Dubois. He said that last time he was still going through a lot of things psychologically and things were going on. But right now, his mind state is all the way set and focused on Usyk and the rest of the belts to become undisputed. And also, this fight will be hosted over in England, the home of Daniel Dubois, London, England. So he will have a lot of his fan base there to support him as a fellow Brit. With Usyk being from Ukraine, he also said in an interview the fact that he's not going to be at his home, it doesn't bother him at all. He said he'll still beat Daniel Dubois no matter where they fight. So you got two confident gladiators that will be stepping in that ring here very soon, sometime this summer. I believe the month of July is what they're shooting for. So be looking forward to Undisputed once again with Usyk versus Daniel Dubois coming this summer. Also in boxing, Shakur Stevenson they're trying to get that together with him as Zepeda. From my understanding, it's pretty much a solid go. It's going to be a good fight because Shakur Stevenson has never really fought a fighter who's going to put a lot of aggression or pressure on him. We need to see him against adversity. We need to see him fight somebody who's going to bring a different style and a different grit. I even reflected on the fight last night, looking at a fight with Adrian Broner with my bro, JC. I looked at him against Paulie Malignaggi, which he did very, very good. And he kind of set the pace and the tone. He had pretty good defense. He deflected a lot of punches. He was somewhat upright though, kind of when he had his guard, his left arm down, his right arm up here, his left down, and kind of like that or whatever. But I guess they always say styles make fights. So when AB tried to use that same formula against Maidana, who was a totally different level of aggression, a whole different level of power as far as his punching, his accumulation, throwing haymakers, throwing overhands. He was too much for not for Daniel Dubois. He was too much for Adrian Broner. Broner had never faced an opponent like him, and he was stepping up in weight. So AB was going from a smaller weight, stepping up in weight to fight the bigger man. and that man was acclimated to the power at that weight class. Now, what Adrian Broner soon did find out after that second round knockdown was that he was in for a fight that night. And he did make it to the final bell, to give him credit. And he was hurt and dropped maybe once or twice more throughout that 12-round fight. So I don't think that Shakur will be like AB as far as stay in the pocket as much, because he's more of a person who's always on his feet, moving around the ring, uses his feet very well, and he definitely uses this like he's a boxing brain and things like that. He's more of a boxing style, where Broner's more of a mixture of boxing, brawling, because he can kind of get in the pocket sometimes in spurts and stuff. But with Shakur, he'd rather not get in those close quarters with his opponents. He'd rather kind of keep it long, 1-2, a 4-punch combination, and move out the way. Sidestep, clinch if he needs to, make some space, step back, throw a couple punches, keep moving. He's a boxer. He's a true, pure boxer is what you get from Shakur Stevenson. So I think with him and Zepeda, Zepeda's going to bring a different edge to their fight when they do fight. And I think he's going to bring out a better version of Shakur Stevenson. That's at least what I'm hoping to see. So let me know y'all opinions in the comments on Shakur Stevenson versus Zepeda. Also, let me know what you feel about the footage of Usyk and Dubois shoving Usyk, and what you thought about that. What's your reactions on that? Also, this upcoming weekend, they have a blockbuster weekend of fights. This Friday, in a couple days, you're going to have Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero. You're going to have Devin Haney versus Ramirez. You're going to have Barbosa versus Teofimo Lopez, a.k.a. The Takeover. You're going to have a lot of action this Friday night. And it's pretty much the only fight that I can call, or I feel strongly that I can kind of call somewhat. I feel like Ryan Garcia will eventually stop Rolly. But when it comes to Ramirez and Devin Haney, it could be a banana peel. It could be a fight to where Devin Haney could lose. I'm wishing him the best. I'm wishing Ramirez the best. I'll say let the best man win. But Ramirez might come with an aggressive style and come similar. If he comes like Ryan Garcia did somewhat, he may be problematic for Devin Haney, unless Devin Haney has addressed that he's made adjustments defensively to not be catching a lot of left hooks. Now, if he can make the proper adjustments needed to fight Ramirez and not fall into those bad habits, he has a good chance of winning the fight by decision and just boxing and moving. So I'm looking forward to Devin Haney, because in his interview, he also stated that, hey, you're going to see a different version of me. I learned from my mistakes. So we might see a full, well-rounded, like a well-oiled machine when it comes to Devin Haney. So we're going to know a lot on Friday, y'all. I want y'all to get hyped, y'all. Friday is going down. Also, Barbosa versus Teofimo Lopez, The Takeover. That's another good fight. Teofimo is a showboat. He likes to clown around. He likes to do a lot of this. You know what I mean? He's gonna clown and make a person mad and upset and get under your skin. Barbosa is a pretty much straight up and down type of character. If you saw the Roundup interview at Times Square in New York, you saw the fact that Barbosa was pretty much like, look, man, when we get in there, you're going to be the best opponent I've ever fought, and vice versa, but I'm going to be the last man standing, pretty much, is the mentality of Barbosa. So I'm looking forward to that. It's a 50-50 fight. I really can't call it, but let me know your predictions if you have one in the comments, y'all. Also, the following day, on Saturday this weekend, you're going to have a main event with somebody we call a boxing, well, he's a boxing legend, but he's one of the faces of boxing to many, Canelo Saul Alvarez. Well, Canelo will be fighting William Skoll. Skoll is of a Cuban fighting background. And Cuban style boxing, they a lot of times are problematic for a lot of their opponents. They have a different style. But all in all, I feel like with 60 plus fights that Canelo's had, 60 fights is a lot of fights. So he's had a lot of experience. From A to Z, Canelo has fought pretty much every style of fighter for the most part. The only fighters I really want to see him fight before he retires is, and I'll say it again, as I've said before, is David Benavidez. I feel like David Benavidez has a style that will be very problematic for Canelo, and I think Canelo knows this, and that's why he's not so quick to want to sign a contract to fight David Benavidez. He downplays David Benavidez. He says that what has he done? He's saying all the things to not make the fight come to fruition. So let me know what y'all feel about that situation, because with Skoll, like my boy Rob, shout out to Rob in Vegas, like he was saying on the live, I feel like Canelo's going to do the same with Skoll as he did with Billy Joe Saunders, as he did with Caleb Plant, as he did with Munguia, as he did with I believe it was, having a mind blank, I think it was Barbosa that he fought. But y'all can let me know in the comments, because right now I'm seeing the guy's face that can't. Berlanga, not Barbosa, Berlanga. When he, so pretty much I feel like this fight this Saturday with Canelo will be a lot like his past fights. This guy's not going to really give him a whole lot of problems. The first maybe 2 rounds, but I think by round 5 or 6, Canelo's going to start to turn up. He's going to slowly break him down, and by round 7 or 8, more than likely, if Canelo's not trying to carry him, he'll finish him, unless he chooses to, play with his food, so to speak. So let me know what y'all feel about Skoll versus Canelo this Saturday. If you got a prediction, let me know in the comments tonight, please. And also Tank Davis, hey, he's gonna have his rematch with Lamont Roach. You know what I'm saying? So let me know your predictions on these two guys. You know what I'm saying? Their first meeting was a good meeting. It probably left a sour taste in the mouth of Tank because he had a draw, and that's something he's never had in his career. So I think a draw pertaining to Tank to the team of Lamont Roach, that's like a victory, man, because Tank was knocking out every opponent he's ever faced. So you're the first person out of all these people, and you get a draw with Tank. That's a moral victory, and that's like a victory to you. Even though it was a draw, you look at it like you won. You know what I'm saying? Like you hit the lottery or something, you know what I mean? And he got a good payday for it. So I think that in the rematch, though, I think we're going to see a different Tank. I think we're going to see that hungry Tank again. I think we're going to see the Tank that he's going to be a little bit more polished. He's going to pick his shots even better. He might pick up his volume just a little bit more. But I think in this rematch, Tank will go for the knockout. But Lamont Roach has a good chin. Lamont Roach has decent speed and decent defense as well. And Tank knows this. But I think it's going to have to be something that Tank is going to have to do extraordinary in this fight to seal the deal and seal the chapter of Lamont Roach Jr. Otherwise, if it's another draw or another close fight, You never know. Tank could lose because a lot of people want to see him lose, and Tank must understand that people want to see him lose. So what is he going to do to make sure that at all costs he's that last man standing when it comes to this rematch with him and Lamont Roach Jr.? So let me know y'all predictions, please, in the comments, y'all. Um, and also, man, I'm hearing there will be a rematch in a couple months with Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. In this scenario itself, I'm not too crazy about a rematch. I mean, don't get me wrong. The first fight was action. It was action packed from the start to the beginning, from the beginning to the end. But I just feel like it's not necessary in this instance to have a rematch. I feel like rematches are when it's a more controversial situation, kind of like Daniel Dubois and Usyk. Dubois declared he hit Usyk with a legal punch, whereas Usyk and his team were saying that was a low blow. Okay, so you want to run that fight back? I understand that because Daniel Dubois is saying, okay, since I felt cheated, I get a chance at redemption. I felt like I was cheated. Let me get my shot at redemption. Usyk can say, well, you were not cheated, and I'll prove I can beat you again. That's pretty much the attitude. Well, with Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, it was pretty decisive. It was a pretty decisive, clear-cut win that levels was being shown by Chris Eubanks Jr. He showed levels. You know what I mean? He's a better boxer. That's his weight, his natural weight, pretty much. That Conor Benn had to come up to that weight or whatever. And don't get me wrong, Conor Benn, he did good, provided having to come up in weight to fight a bigger guy. He did good. But it was pretty much a decisive win for me. A lot of people say 8-4 rounds, Eubanks, and at worst 7-5. So either way you look at it, everybody, or at least majority of people, they feel that Eubanks won that fight. So I don't really see a need for a second fight personally. But let me know your thoughts. Should they run it back? Would you be interested in seeing Eubanks versus Conor Benn too? Let me know in the comments. And also, speaking of Daniel Dubois, his trainer, Don Charles, has doubled down. He's saying that Usyk had cheated, that was, I'm going back to that situation. He's saying that Dubois caught Usyk with a clean punch on the belt line, and Usyk cheated, saying it was a low blow to get time and to save himself from being knocked out. Don Charles said that was a knockout, and that's what it is. And he even said he had some type of proof that he could prove the fact that it was a knockout. However, they're going to run it back. So all that matters is if Dubois can do it once, he can do it twice. So if he's claiming that he was cheated with a clean punch, then hey, in the rematch, you need to make lightning strike again, buddy. So we'll see. Let me know what y'all think about that. About Don Charles and his feelings regarding the borderline punch controversy. What else we got, y'all? Oh, and pretty much, we were talking about the Dubois Usyk or whatever. So when we always talk about these two, you also want to talk about Joseph Parker because you had that triangle or whatever. Well, unfortunately, by circumstances and the way things are, it's like Parker's being pushed to the side right now. He's being pushed to the side. And it's unfortunate because he's a very good fighter. I definitely rate Joseph Parker. I rate him. But I think it's all about those belts right now. You know, the IBF belt that Dubois had that Usyk used to have, and Usyk had vacated it. Now Dubois has the IBF belt. So he has that belt as a bargaining tool to bring to the table. All the other belts Usyk has. So he needs to regain the belt that he let go that Dubois now has. Unfortunately, Joseph Parker doesn't have a belt. So it's kind of like he's getting pushed to the side right now. I know a lot of people say it's unfair, but you know, sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles. I feel like after this fight, whoever wins the fight, whether it's Dubois, whether it's Usyk, I think that person will be fighting Joseph Parker next. And then in the midst of all that, you have Ajit Kabiel, another dangerous opponent. So the heavyweight division right now is in a good place, y'all. Boxing as a whole is in a good place right now. Because not only is the heavyweight division doing pretty swell, you also got the smaller guys that are doing their thing, like this weekend. You know, the Devin Haney's, the Ryan Garcias, etc. Now, I want to kind of follow back on my dude Anthony Yarde. I'm a fan of Anthony Yarde, man, but something we kind of had a debate on my last live with shout outs to Mike Ware. I can't see any scenario to where I feel Anthony Yarde can beat David Benavidez. I just don't see anything in his arsenal, his style of fighting. He won't be much of a problem for David Benavidez. I went back and watched, you know, some different highlights from different fights, and at best, his best performances was like the fight that he lost when he lost against Beterbiev, and he might have had another good performance prior to that. I can't think of the opponents, all the opponents right now, but the fight he just had with his most recent opponent on the undercard of Eubanks, Anthony Yarde did not look that good at all. He should have got his guy up out of there. He shouldn't have been struggling like he was. So I don't think that he's ready for David Benavidez, Bivol. Of course, Beterbiev already beat him, so there's no need to fight him because he would probably do him even worse if they were to rematch. I mean, maybe Yarde could fight the guy that David Benavidez had beat on his last 175-pound fight. You know, maybe that could happen, but I think he needs to stay away from David Benavidez, in my opinion. So we'll see what David Benavidez will be doing next in the sport of boxing, and let me know in the comments what you think. Just hypothetically speaking, if Yarde fights David Benavidez, who would win? Also, if David Benavidez gets the Bivol fight next after Beterbiev trilogy, who wins? David Benavidez or Bivol? That's a good matchup in my eyes. So I would definitely be looking forward to seeing those two lock horns in the ring, in that ring. Also, I've been seeing trending on different social media on IG, FB, YouTube. I'm an Anthony Joshua fan, so I'm gonna touch a little bit on him, but not too much. But AJ is in Nigeria right now, and there's been some confusion. People keep saying, "Well, isn't Anthony Joshua British from UK?" All right. So the backstory is yes, AJ was born in United Kingdom in Watford, I believe, is where he's raised, Watford, England. But Anthony Joshua's dad is from Nigeria, Africa. So he has Nigerian roots. He has cousins. He has cousins in Nigeria. He has probably aunts and uncles that are Nigerian in Africa. So he kind of he loves UK, but he still represents where his dad's from too. So he has love. He's passionate about UK, but he's also passionate about Nigeria. So that's just how it is. You have that kind of love sometimes when you're connected with your family. You might be from a certain area, but then you might still have a second home. So Nigeria is going to be AJ's second home. I mean, it's like me. I'm from Woodlawn. My parents are from Lincoln Heights, so Lincoln Heights is my second home. It's that simple. Anyways, make sure you comment in the comment section on everything I just ran down tonight. And y'all have a safe, blessed night. And I will catch you on the next round.